So after 8 years and many script drafts, how was the Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
Amazing.
Oh yeah, oh fucking yeah. You guys have doubted yourselves this time. This shouldn't have really come out as a surprise, but I love FNAF. Hell, I even collected the Funko plushies back then. FNAF has a special place in a lot of people's hearts, including mine. So of course I would have liked the trilogy of movies or even TV series about it. I've played the games and I really like them, and I also have read the Silver Eyes and the Twisted Ones. Not really much of the rest. Maybe Fourth Closet, but I don't really remember. Point is, I loved the franchise like everyone else, and I was so excited to see the movie like everyone else. Then it went through development hell, then it had multiple scripts, then they were constantly changing directors, then Scott had a definitive script, and we finally got our director in October. Many people liked the trailers and TV spots. I've seen a lot of stupid nitpicks, and I've seen a lot of predictions that people are making saying, oh, it's gonna be bad. Like, don't judge something until it comes out, like, god damn. Then the movie started getting negative reviews from critics, which I wasn't expecting much, but they were really harsh on this. I've heard a lot of opinions from many FNAF YouTubers, some non-YouTubers who don't even associate with the franchise and just absolutely hate it. Either way, it's all a mixed bag. Godfather brain-level critics thought it was bad. Average audience members, like my dad, were mixed. And it's to no surprise that FNAF fans are obviously loving it. As a whole, we all can't really win. And I'm only saying this because after you walk out of the theater, just form your own opinion. It's really no surprise that everyone relies on other people these days. So just go in and out with your own mindset, because that's all that really matters at the end of the day. That being said, I fucking love this movie. Does it have flaws? Maybe one or two. But it's very awesome, and it's definitely a treat for the FNAF fans, as well as a love letter. I wasn't really associated with the fan base in modern day, but I'm really glad that everyone loves it, including me. First of all, the production design is gorgeous. Even though the film is set in 2000, they really captured the aesthetic of the 80s and 90s. The inside of the pizzeria is absolutely mind-blowing. There's lots of props that fit it, and Sanchi plushies. They even have the crappy masks too. What a treat. Most of the movie takes place in the pizzeria, which isn't really surprising, so I was happy that I got to see a Sparky the Dog reference. And now moving on to probably what is the best part of the movie, the animatronics. Holy shit. They were done so well. All of them were accurate to their game counterparts, and they were not too clean nor too dirty. And no, I don't give a fuck if Bonnie is a different shade of blue. That is just a complaint that virgins have. But Bonnie is supposed to be indigo.
Shut the fuck up, he's fine the color he is.
The way the animatronics moved actually felt really real. While there's a couple of parts that looked off relating mostly to Foxy, they were still good nonetheless. And props to the puppeteer team. They didn't feel too scary nor too friendly. It's right there in the middle, and for some reason, people are just complaining that they needed to be more scary. Don't get me wrong, it's something I get, but even then, they're kids. What do you want from them? And oh man, the kills were done so perfectly. Some of the kills were creative, and I was shocked on how this was incorporated with the rating, especially for a PG-13 film. It's mostly notable in the scene where the delinquents are breaking into the pizzeria because they get brutally fucked.
Are they making out? Let's go!
Lastly, I love their chemistry with the main characters. Speaking of the main characters, I love Mike. Josh Hutcherson was good as the protagonist in this one, and Mike has been through a lot of shit. Like, he lost his brother when he was young, then his mother, then his father, and he's having issues with money in the house. And then he takes the security guard job for Freddy's Pizzeria when he realizes that Abby is gonna get taken away. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone can relate to the dude because he's tired of living through his life. And then we have Abby, which was basically the heart of the movie. I loved her incorporation throughout the movie, her bonding with the animatronics, and I like how she uses her drawings as communication since she's not really that social. Plus, it became important while figuring out Mike's vision. I loved their bond throughout the movie, by the way. It was just so heartwarming, and especially at the end. Okay, enough about them. I just wanted to get to the coolest fucking character in the movie. William Afton, the most important person in the franchise. Just thinking about his introduction in the movie at the very beginning, and just thinking about his entrance at like the final act, oh my god, that was one of the best scenes to come out of this entire year. And I will admit I had my doubts before seeing this movie because I thought I wasn't really going to take Matthew Lillard very seriously because, you know, just God. But thank Lord that he acts well, because he really had some craziness in him.
But William Afton wasn't in the movie as much, so therefore he sucks.
Well, I disagree still, and here's why. While the first night was starting, when William was giving Mike the basic gist of everything, throughout the movie, once they're solving the entire mystery, you could feel William's presence until the end. Anything that's involved with him, whether it's Garrett's disappearance or solving the mystery of the disappearing kids, it's all tied around him. A strange comparison, I know, but it's like Death from Puss in Boots 2, where you feel his presence throughout the entire movie. Plus, from what I remember, William had a reasonable amount of screen time, so I don't get anyone's point about that. Vanessa, I thought, was great, considering the fact that she has the most trauma in the entire movie, which is very concerning. While I get people being concerned about her being Afton's daughter, it was a hint in Security Breach and Help Wanted. Also, she really confused me during the climax. If she knew where William was, considering the fact that William literally made her pick up his messes, why couldn't she just arrest William at the spotlight, considering the fact that she's also a cop? If this is because of a family reason, then I don't even see the appeal much, because you're still arresting someone who committed murder. But overall, she was alright. The story could have been fine without her, but I really liked her and Mike's bond. The other characters were fine too, such as the aunt and the babysitter. They didn't really have much to do other than just be there for the plot to happen. Plus, most of the kills come from them, so I thought they were just acceptable. Think of the aunt as the equivalent to Mario's dad. At least the aunt served a purpose. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the kids. I mean, they were kids who have lost souls. Golden Freddy was my favorite one though. I also like this film's cinematography and practical effects. Like, there were a lot of shots that I didn't even expect would look this good on the big screen. Like, for example, there were a lot of close-ups of the animatronics that just completely blew me away. And they are really memorable to me, mostly during the second and third act. And of course, the practical effects. I mean, come on, it's Blumhouse, they work on small budgets. And yet, even with the creative minds from the Jim Henson shop, they still managed to look this good. Genuinely, I'm wondering right now, how will they even accomplish the toy animatronics? I know I already said this, but I just wanted to give more of an elaboration because I just can't get over how great they are. But when they're only, and I mean only, focusing on shots with Foxy walking, then I can see some improvements need to be made. But overall, they were great. The tone is kinda also all over the place, but not really when you think about it. Let's just think about it this way. At this point, the movie is basically a thriller with many horror elements added to it. I get the appeal of FNAF being a horror franchise, which it is, and I get people's criticisms on the film not being as scary as it was. And you're probably gonna click off this video when I say this, but FNAF doesn't have to be all that, you know? What I mean by that is you can still have a horror franchise, but you can have some heartfelt moments in it and some heartfelt characters. It's a really modern example, I know, but take Gregory and Glamrock Freddy's friendship in Security Breach. I don't prefer playing Security Breach all that much because of its confusing retcons and such, but I will admit the bond between the two was one of the biggest positives of the game. Keep in mind, kids are a big part of the entire franchise. Literally. So I kind of expect emotional moments whether they fall flat or not with kids. And like I said, just like with Gregory and Glamrock Freddy, take this movie's example with Mike and Abby. It's the reason why Mike had a character arc in the first place, and their relationship was really satisfying in the end. Can I just say for a second that the music went really fucking hard in this movie? The Newton brothers did a great job in composing the film's score, and the opening music is like the best part of the entire soundtrack. Also, I was right about Living Tombstone being in the end credits. I freaking predicted that crap. I even have my own reaction with my sister.
What? 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 No!
Oh my god!
I swear, best audience since No Way Home. You could already tell when that song was added into the end credits, this movie was already made for the fans. Before I mention the valid criticisms for this movie, I just want to clear something up. Scott said a long time ago that the games, books, and the movie are separate from each other. Like, they're different. The movie was basically a mix of Silver Eyes and the first game. It had the gist of the lore just like the games and the books, but went ahead and put its new spin on it, which kinda works. A lot of fans are gonna think that they're all supposed to follow up each other, which They're not. They will have the ideas, but go ahead and put in new things. And I can definitely understand the confusion of critics. Blum and Scott did say that this film was specifically made for the fans and no one else, unless newer audiences want to go ahead and join in. They went ahead and put the basics of the lore in the entire movie and expect the fans to go ahead and figure out the rest due to their brains. Which I understand, actually. Like, you cannot definitely cram everything into one movie, but you also cannot leave others confused. Keep in mind, Blum and Scott are open to criticism, so they can take that criticism and they can fix it for the next one, which I'm hoping they at least do. In the end, it was already possible that Five Nights at Freddy's was already going to be mixed, with fans loving it and with critics hating it. It's also doing pretty well at the box office. And considering it already set multiple records, we are definitely getting a trilogy. Since they're making a trilogy, they can go ahead and expand on everything else, and leave more room for newer audience members to see why everything is the way it is. Obviously, as a FNAF fan with complex understandings, I loved it. I want to say that the ending felt a little rushed, like straight up after the spring locks. Like it all happened so quickly to the point where it was so half-baked. That specifically might change on a couple of rewatches, but other than that and some writing that could be fixed, as a FNAF fan, you're probably going to get a lot out of this film, with tons of references from especially the Silver Eyes that you'll literally josh your mouth at. Critics, along with my casual Letterboxd friends, are probably going to give this a 5 out of 10 or lower. It's definitely not perfect. A lot can definitely be fixed. But if critics are going to go ahead and be mad at a scene where the animatronics are building a fort even though they are kids, critics when FNAF is FNAF and references and references and references and so many references. Guys, there are so many references. I fucking hate this movie. You want to talk about references? Let's talk about cameos. Yeah, original actor this, original actor that. Ooh, wow, this and that, this YouTuber. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Matt, Pat, and Corey in this film. Nice to see them in the funny movie. I almost forgot to give a score for this one. Let's see here. I'll give it a 7 or an 8. I'll give it a 7.8 for now. That might change later though. Okay, that's it. Have a good day. I feel like I'm forgetting one thing to talk about. Oh yeah, the spring lock scene. How did I feel about that?
I always come back.
Nice to know some things never change.